Good evening everyone, this is the Great Pumpkin speaking and welcome to this new stream of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. So, tonight we're going to be looking at a few of the things we've missed up until now into the expansion, and also be continuing the main quest in Ahm Araeng, where Alize is still waiting for us. So what are we doing in Ulmore then? Well, there is this thing that I've actually noticed here while I was in Ulmore. See this lady over there? She seems familiar somehow. Let's talk to her. Moen. Something about you seems so very... No, it can't be. As if I could have possibly seen my future business partner in a dream. What a preposterous thing that would be. Indeed. Let's talk some more. The boutique always wins. The Boutique of Splendors is always on the lookout for new artisans eager to share their talents with the world. Should you happen to know any such individuals, I pray you direct them to us. So yeah, basically, that's the Rowena of this particular world. So yep, you crafting folk, if you thought you would get a respite by going to another world, well, you would be sadly mistaken. So here's the thing, there's a bit of a running gag about Rowena being something of a slave driver. This is actually referenced within the main quest proper, among others. The reason for that being that she actually pays with her employees with in-house currencies, which can only be spent at the House of Splendor. So that makes it that kind of a shaky ground morally and other things. But it can also be framed into a somewhat positive way. Anywho, so now that this is taken care of, we'll be heading to the Crystarium in order to unlock a few things. So basically, the pre-access for this game is gonna end pretty much tonight once the maintenance hits. And now the floodgates are gonna be open to everybody who has purchased the game up until now. So, better brace yourself, because it's gonna be a big one. So now the things that we're gonna be unlocking right now are the hunts for this particular expansion, as well as the sightseeing log. So let's have a look at the NPC that's right over there. Erlald. Hold on a moment, sinner. You're not from around here, are you? A fellow wandering soul, an eternal inhabitant of the road. I thought so. Erlald's the name. My aspiration is to travel the whole wide world. Though it's a fair bit smaller than it used to be so far as dreams go, it's a lot more realistic than you might think. But danger still lurks in every corner and around every bend. Even so, this sinner's got nerves of steel. He's a born explorer, Erlald. There's no land too distant or place too forbidden, aye. But what is that I spy poking out of your pack? A log, if I'm not mistaken. Give it over if you would. Aha! I thought so! A record of fantastic vistas and unforgettable sights! We're kindred spirits! A marrow of a feather! Excellent, excellent! It's only right that I share with you such wondrous experiences as you have with me. A collection of amazing vistas I catalogued myself that I guarantee will rival the best you have ever seen. Novrant may be a shadow of its former glory, but there's still joy and excitement to be found if you know where to look, my friend. So I implore you, look, look, look! Follow in my footsteps, savor every moment of the journey, and then, when you feel you have discovered every secret this realm has to offer, start again. I promise you won't be disappointed. Sightseeing log expanded. Shadowbringers entries have been added to your sightseeing log. You must be a disciple of war or magic of level 70 or above to record Shadowbringers vistas. Travel to the location indicated and fulfill the necessary conditions, and you will complete the entry for that vista, earning experience points in the process. Use your wits and the notes provided by Erlald to identify these stunning sights and proper way to appreciate them, and see Novrant as only the greatest explorers I've seen her. And with that over with, we'll head over to our next destination. I've actually found quite a few interesting things here in the Crystarium as I was exploring on my own. Among others, there is a quest that actually references what we've learned in Ahm Araeng, in that the Sin Eaters can actually inject people with a seed of light and eventually lead to them dying. Of course, it's mostly foreshadowing here, but still, interesting. Nuts to you, Humailout. The Humailout thinks you might be the right person for a questionable job. Oh, you're you're her, aren't you? Halidor's been asking after you. You know Halidor, aye? Oh, Haldor, my mistake. Clan Nazi's man. If you're keen to hunt the deadliest marks for the biggest bounties, then you might want to seek him out. You'll find him by the board over in the Rookery. Though, if I were you, I'd steer clear of that whole nasty business. Bad for one's health, it is. I disagree. We'll be heading over to the crystalline... Actually, he said close to the Rookery, so that would be Temenos Rookery. Another thing I've discovered around here is that apparently the Crystarium is defended by special crystal cannons, which were devices excavated for, or at least based on what was found within the Crystal Tower, which raises some other questions. Assuming the Crystal Exarch has summoned the Crystal Tower there, then wouldn't he have had the chance to actually summon Xande and all of his abominations with him? That would have been bad, especially after the Flood of Light, but then again, suppose he had nothing to lose. So Haldor, could it be? The esteemed warrior herself? Well met, miss, well met. You are a very hard woman to track down by all accounts, yet here you are, in the flesh. How very blessed I am to make your acquaintance. I am Haldor, Clan Nazi. Well, nuts to you. Perhaps you have heard of us. We have certainly heard of you. I can tell you that. A fighter true and true. I'll come right to it. Interested in joining the clan? Apologies. Only a fool would sign up without knowing what we're about. And you're no fool, I can see that. The clan is, how shall I put it? An association of adventurous souls who make a living hunting certain notable fiends. Marks, as we are wont to call them. Surely you're familiar with the concept. Yep. Navarant is home to myriad living creatures, many of which pose a threat to our good people. Thus did the Exarch, at least I think it was him, in his boundless wisdom, call upon the Settlement Council to develop a framework that would encourage motivated hunters to dispatch these menaces. To wit, you brave souls who slay marks shall receive due compensation. Not all a bad arrangement, eh? If you've a mind to reap the benefit, speak with Xylee over there. She'll record your name in the ledger and see you registered as a clan member. Can't say I care much for what they did with Rodgard, but I can see them being somewhat popular. Nowhere near as much as Vieira's, but still. May I help you, miss? At the urging of Haldor, was it? I see. You are plainly more than capable of acquitting yourself well enough in battle, and so I have no grounds to refuse you. I hereby accept your application to join Clan Nazi. Well, nuts to you. Check the board for the latest bills. The tougher the mark, the better the reward. Hunt what you like, or nothing at all. However, you may only undertake hunts designing appropriate for a member of your current status. A novice, the clan is disinclined to allow unproven hunters to commit suicide by mark. Once you have achieved a sufficient measure of success, you will be permitted to pursue more dangerous fiends. Do try not to die before then. And we have access to our hunting log now. Using that, we'll be able to look for all of the various marks, which will become more easily accessible once everybody has access to the expansion. And with that done, we'll be heading over back to Ahm Araeng in order to speak with Elise. So let's do that. Another interesting thing I've learned while questing in Ahm Araeng is that it appears that the Mord, or Kobolds if you will, had something of a relationship with the humans that fled from the old kingdom there. Among others, we've learned about Maliks who led their people in an exodus of sort. Something I'm not unfamiliar with based on my particular childhood religion, but that's besides the point. So there's Elise. Hey there, honey. How did you fare? Ah, I thought there might be one or two lurking on the fringes. Nothing out of the ordinary for this area. I expect you noticed it yourself, but individually, these lesser sin eaters are no more deadly than any natural predator you might encounter in the desert. It's when they appear in number that they pose a threat. Much like the void scent, they have an unfortunate tendency to flock to the strongest of their kind. Thus, when a powerful sin eater goes on the hunt, it might be attended by a veritable swarm of weaker kin. Imagine an army of such creatures descending on a village or hamlet. That's the basic idea behind my patrols, to call their ranks often enough that their numbers won't be overwhelming when the big ones come out to play, and you've certainly helped on that front. That's actually true. A few quests in Colusia, despite being depressing, actually speaks of that particular possibility. Let's report our victories to Tesleen, shall we? So we shall. Somebody wants some Scooby snacks. She hasn't been telling you stories, has she? Oh gods. Alize tells me you helped her out on her patrol. You have our thanks, and my apologies for leading you from one battle to another ever since the moment we met. In any case, I'm glad to see the two of you found each other. You have no idea how badly Alize has missed her company. Everything is always, if Hard were here, she would... That's an exaggeration, and I don't sound like that either. I was simply trying to view matters from another perspective, and I respect Hard's methods. Honestly, after seeing her in action, I can understand why. The way she leaps into the fray without hesitation, it really is something to behold. I may be a little smitten myself. Hehe, I'm only teasing. Though I've no doubt she deserves all the admiration she gets, just as you do. And we've gotten a headgear. This is nice because I've managed to get pretty much every piece of equipment I needed except for this particular one. We've also got those coins, the Nightworld silver pieces, the replacement for the Alagon ones. So that's taken care of, so now I figure I'm just about as good as I can be. Which is good. So what you got, girl? A purchase of fruit. Tesleen has the air of a woman being pulled in 10 directions at once. I'd love to lay out a welcome meal, but the duties I put off when I went to the market are still waiting for me. Ah, there are 101 things that need doing. I'm sorry, but would you mind waiting here with Alize? What, and twiddle our thumbs while you work yourself to death? Surely there's something we can help you with. Sure. I could do with a hand, it's true. Thank you. You can start by helping me sort out the larder, Alize. While we do that, could you tend to a few patients, perhaps? There are 3 in particular I meant to visit. It's just a matter of saying a few words to them and seeing that their skin isn't caked in stand. Their names are Pawnil, Todden, and Holric. They may not give much in the way of a response, but I promise they'll be pleased to meet someone new. So we shall. So there's Pawnil. Maybe a little cure could help, but perhaps not. Thank you. There's Todden. Seems a little glum. Todden glances up at you blankly, but you notice the tension in his face eases slightly. There's Halric. Oh my god, she's so young. Damn. They do love reusing that young aura model, though. Oh, it's a he, I believe? Not sure. Halric remains utterly still as you wipe the sand from his cheek. The texture of his skin has hardened into something akin to plaster. Yep. Turning into a sin eater, looks like. You've seen it to the patients. How were they? Good. That's good. I knew they would enjoy meeting you. I am concerned about Halric, though. I'll have to speak with the other carers, but I think his time may be near. We shall leave you to have that discussion then. I was going to take Hard to Mordsuk, if you have any errands there that needs doing. Well, I suppose there's one thing. We just came from there. Would you pick up a nectarine from the markets, please? Cassard's caravans just passed through, so Ron should have some fresh fruit. Come then, Hard. There's much I want you to see. Right after we stop at Ron's stall, of course. So, back to Mordsuk then. You might also notice that a lot of characters refers to us as sinners of sort. That seems to be the regular greetings for, shall we say, the inhabitants of Novrant. Probably given the state of the Flood of Light, well, everybody might be considered sinners to some extent, especially with the Sin Eaters around. This might explain what we saw in Kalusia, though. In Ulmor, it might be that people who have sinned a lot are actually, shall we say, tastiers to Sin Eaters? That might be why they don't attack outright, with Lord Vautry fattening them up, so to speak. Ron. Oh, back again, are you? You need another taste of Ron's wares? No, that I've had quite enough. Actually, we're looking to buy a nectarine. Do you have any in stock? Oh yes, nectarines, peaches, grapes, fresh and juicy. Given how richly you cracked your corn purse with me, I might still owe you food. Here, take this one, free of charge. Gods, I've never seen a Mord merchant give away something for nothing before. How much coin did you spend here? Just that one the Exarch gave us. Oh yes, I'll take a jar of honeyed worms as well. Huh? Oh no, they're not for me. It's an offering of sorts. The worms, if you please. Only the best wigglers for you. Come again, my friends. Elise has a thing for kobolds, it seems. Perhaps they're cute to her. Right, that's our shopping chore taken care of. Let's head past the Aetheryte to the main tower. The view I want to show you can only be seen from its very top. Oh. So you're showing me around to the place then? Princess Kenny? That ain't right. Okay, so that's why there were so many peoples around there. Here are your precious worms. That buys us a trip to the top of the tower, does it not? Gosh, Galley's wigglers! You actually brought them! I really shouldn't let you, but just this once, alright? Only once. Never fails, shall we? I'm guessing we'll be headed to Lakeland fairly soon. I saw there was a hunt going on there. Should put a railing there.
Look, over there, where the wall is broken. Do you see what lies beyond?
I don't know. Looks like water? A wasteland, perhaps?
That's what the land became after the light flooded in. An empty, white nothingness. Life cannot exist in such conditions. The primordial light would wreak havoc on the body's etheric balance. That nectarine you bought, it's Halric's favorite fruit.
Doesn't quite look right to me.
Most of the patients, Halric included, survived the attacks of powerful eaters. But their fate was sealed all the same. The monster's corruption has entered their bodies, and their very essence is being subsumed by light. The twisted state of the world itself just makes matters worse. Under normal circumstances, a person's ether naturally tends to equilibrium. But for these poor souls, the opposite is true. Sooner or later, every single one of them will turn. Tesleen and the patients, they all know this. They know what has to be done before the change goes too far, before the eater within takes over. The preferred method is mixing poison into their favorite food. In my time here, I've borne witness to a lot of last meals.
Stuff to care, eh?
I feel just as helpless as before. No matter how hard I fight, it's never enough. But it's a war I mean to wage, nonetheless. Speaking of wars, do you remember how I made you promise not to leave me and then promptly collapsed?
Kinda.
Well, let's just say I had a few choice words for the Exarch concerning the timing of his summons.
You don't say.
But even if the fault lay with someone else, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd abandon you on the battlefield. So I swore that I'd make up for my absence there by making a difference here. And that's what keeps me moving forward, even when things seem hopeless. On which note, it's time we headed back. The longer we keep Tesleen waiting, the harder this will be for her.
Rather depressing, isn't it? But that's to be expected. They're setting the stage for what's coming. I'm glad I was able to show you that. When it comes to understanding the catastrophe which befell the first, one glimpse of the empty wasteland beyond the wall is worth more than an hour of Urianger's lecturing. And I needed you to know beyond doubt that Tesleen had no other choice. The nectarine will be a kindness. It isn't just the threat posed to others. When a person becomes an eater, the pain appears to be excruciating. The carers are truly fond of their wards, and would spare them that suffering. It is their way of fighting back against a fate worse than death. And I am not gonna comment on that. It's a serious issue on which I don't have a clear opinion, unfortunately. The Unending Journey's End, too. It's a rather depressing name, wouldn't you agree? You're back! I hope you had a nice time. Did you manage to find a nectarine? Yes, we did. Thank you. Elise's explained why I wanted this, has she? I can see it in your eyes. But we may not need it just yet. I spoke with the others and we've decided to keep an eye on Halric for now. Thanks to you, though. If his time does come suddenly, we'll be ready to send him on his way with a taste of happier days. Don't know, they seem kinda dead to me. It's time left to us. Tesleen makes an effort to smile brightly. Well, nothing is going to happen for a little while yet, so let's see if we can't lighten the moon. We don't want our gloomy faces worrying the patients. I think it's time for that welcome meal, don't you? Take a seat, and I'll make us a nice stew. If we must. Oh, it's one of those, huh? Alright, bonding time.
Speak up if you'd like another helping. I made a little bit more than usual today.
And you've added something special to the broth, if I'm not mistaken.
Aye, well, it's not often we have visitors from the Crystarium, so I may have thrown in a few extra bits and bobs.
You needn't have gone to the trouble.
Oh, it's nothing, really. And we do so rarely have guests. In a place like this, you learn to take what moments of happiness you can get.
She kind of sounds like
when I first
Lise.
came here with my mother. She was showing the early signs. I knew there was no way to save her, but I just couldn't face what needed to be done. That's the way of it for most people. Why they travel from arms to stay here. Beaten, broken souls come to wait out the inevitable, to receive the mercy of a painless death. When my mother finally left this world, I was mad with grief, but also thankful that her passing was a peaceful one. It's never easy, ending a life you've cared for, even when you believe they go on to a better place. I often find myself wishing the Warrior of Darkness would come and do that part for me.
The Warrior of Darkness?
You've never heard the tale? I'm not sure where it began, but every child in Norvrent could tell you a version of it.
Interesting.
Warrior of Darkness, servant of death, take care of our souls at our dying breath. Let sinners and eaters of sin go with thee, that all may return to the sunless sea. Well, that's the version I was taught anyway. It's just an old bedtime story. He's certainly never deigned to visit us here.
Which is a good thing, surely. He sounds rather ominous.
Do you think so? I always liked the idea that he treated every soul the same, even the Sin Eaters.
This is a strange world. Everything's backward.
They're coming.
Uh-oh.
Desleen! Have you seen Halric? I swear, I only took my eyes off him for a moment.
This is gonna end badly. Well, where could he have gone? This is my fault. The patients were acting strangely and I let it distract me. Alright, Alize, we have to go look for Halric. I don't know what's gotten into him, but if he's wandering out there alone, we'll assign search areas and split up. Any idea where he might be headed? No, he's never done anything like this before, but it can be a coincidence that the other patients are suddenly so agitated they can sense something. In any case, let's keep the search close to the inn. Halric isn't very sure of his feet, so he won't have gone far. I'll search the east side. Please, Halric, please be alright. I'll cover the north and west then. You take everything from here to the south. Thankfully I have a map to tell me where I'm going, because I have no idea. And off we go in our fancy limousine. Because it's obviously smart to run in limousine within a desert. But then, you know, suspicions of disbelief and all that jazz. Enemies around here feels a little wimpier than they used to be in either Stormblood or Heavensward. I don't know if it's just me. Perhaps they felt they were a little hard now with level boost and whatnot. You see no sign of Halric. Maybe he went further west. Those tunes here in Kalusia seem awfully familiar. I have no idea why. You scan your surroundings in search of Ulrich and suddenly find yourself under attack. Should probably call for help. One thing I've been thinking, once I'm done with the latest quest that we'll have unlocked tonight, was about actually playing a little as a summoner for a while. Try to get it up, maybe get a few quests in. I haven't decided yet. But I figured that would be a nice change of space. It's either that or something like Gunbreaker and whatever. Class looks interesting, although whether I want to actually play it is another story. I'm playing Paladin enough on Kukumo, so tanking doesn't feel that fun. At least right now. What now? Uh-oh. Eerie music.
Any sign of him?
Pray not.
No luck then. But he surely can't have gone far. We should keep looking. The Sin Eaters are out in force, and if we don't find him soon, you can be sure they will.
Uh-oh. It's a big one.
Did you see the size of that thing? It must be one of the nasty ones. Wherever it's going, it can only mean trouble. After it!
After you, little lady.
There it is!
Is that...
Oh no! Ulrich!
Huh?
We have to run!
Huh? Oh my.
Tesseline! No!
Damn. And he doesn't care.
We all deserve happiness, wherever we can find it. The time left to you is precious. No one should die in pain. Mother, I...
That's a heck of a contortion she did there. New animation, perhaps. Cocoon with feather, then. That was a quick one. Let me guess, that's succubi thing. Oh no. Even worse, perhaps.
No!
Pretty horrendous. You're working pretty hard to nail this into our brain, shall we say? Welp. I'm sorry, Hard. I tried to tell the carers what happened, but I can't be the shoulder they lean on. Not like this. Alright. Sana. Just so unfair. Desleen was always so cheery with the patients, telling them not to be scared, that there wouldn't be any pain. Of all the people in the world to suffer such a fate. Can't help but notice that there is no music around here, only the wind. Wilfort. I imagine you're just as shocked as the rest of us, so I appreciate what you're doing here. Me? I can barely. I don't have the words. Without a body, we can't even give her a proper burial, and she cared about that sort of thing, about giving people the chance to say their goodbyes. Ulrich is as unresponsive as ever. He stands motionless, staring up in the sky where the Sin Eaters made their escape. We could potentially use him to track him down, just saying. Tears on the sand. Alize is lost in grief. Get out of the way, Chocobo. Alize. Thank you. What you're doing, it means a lot to them. To me. Sorry to interrupt. We realized we hadn't thanked you for rescuing Ulrich. You weren't hurt at all, were you? Hurt? There wasn't even a fight. I was too late, too slow, and I thought I could protect you. You can't blame yourself for things beyond your control. You brought Ulrich back safe and sound. No one could have done any more. Alize's got something of a hero's complex. She needs to save everyone. Can't do that. I'm sorry, but I've come to a decision. I won't be continuing in my role here. I hope you will forgive me for leaving you, and that you will delay Ulrich's last meal for as long as you possibly can. Not until it's too late, of course. Just give him what time you can. We always do. Of course, she would have done the same. Farewell, Ulrich. Keep Desleen words close to your heart. That's very similar to that little kobold she had bonded with. Unfortunate. Wait, you're leaving this very moment? I understand how you must feel, but surely this is a bit hasty. Do you even have anywhere to go? I have a destination in mind, yes, and a purpose. This damn light, building without seas, it's the reason we can save those corrupted by the Eaters. But what if we corrected the balance? Even if it were only little by little, even if it took years, it would surely make things better. Now hold on there. Everyone knows there's too much light, but how could you ever hope to get rid of it? You'd have to change the whole world. That's right. We should return to the Crystarium. I may not be able to repel the heaters on my own, but I can still use the skills I've gained here to hunt them. Was it hurt? I didn't quite get that. Crazy scions. But anywho, Back to the Red Serral and then to the Crystarium, which means going to Mordsuk to begin with. Here we are. That was actually shorter than I thought. It seems that I spent quite a long time actually just getting to her. Well, that means we'll get new stuff this stream, so that's alright with me. Hopefully, if you haven't gotten access to the pre-access, you'll get to enjoy this as I do once the floodgates open tonight, so that's cool. Of course, if you're on YouTube, then it's been quite a while since that happened, so eh. And as usual, the weather is everlasting light. Back on my little cartoonish puppy that I got from the crafting and gathering quest of the Ixal Beast Tribe. And a Gigant Tender. Slew a few of those. There are cute little ones as well as a big red one that is hunted around there. I figure I'll get a few chances to hunt it down once the time is right. Even saw someone earlier who claimed that she had managed to unlock the Aetherite in Gulmore. That could be interesting, because the thing about those new cities is that they are now separated in instances, so you might be seeing a lot fewer people than you used to, especially given the size of the Crystarium among others. But you also get something of a choice, either hang out in Yulmore or hang out in the Crystarium. Forgive me, Hard, I couldn't stay there a moment longer. But I was serious about what I said. While the men and women at the inn battle against this blight with kindness, I must fight it in my own way, with steel. Miss Alize, is there anything I can get you? You're swift as tomorrow. I need to return to the Crystarium. Immediately. As you wish. Remind me to wear goggles if we ever fly over Ahm Araeng again. I've barely gotten the sands out of my eyes. But the wind did help to clear my head, at least. I think I'm ready to meet with the Exarch. We need to talk about how we're going to wipe the Sin Eaters out, shall we? Out for vengeance, she is. Might as well be screaming at the sky, really. But oh well. Somebody can do it, probably us. We haven't heard about the trust system yet. It's a new feature from Final Fantasy XI that is being brought over here. I figure it's pretty much the same thing as what we saw with the Squadron dungeons, such as it is. We'll get basically AI NPCs to help us do dungeons solo and whatnot. So this should be interesting. Thank you for seeking me out, Hard. It means a lot to have you there at my side. And looking at Elfino, I'd say he's eager to begin this discussion as I am. I say we lay our experiences before the Exarch and step back to see what kind of picture they make. Then we can decide where to go from here. Whenever I come to the Crystarium, the sands of Ahm Araeng seems a world away, and yet they both lie under the same wretched sky. If only every town could share Crystarium's spirit of independence. Still, I suppose one cannot decide for others what they should and should not deem important. My powers of persuasion have certainly had little effect on the people of Coluzia. Don't be so hard on yourselves, kid. Don't grow up too quickly. The Crystal Exarch welcomes you back to the Crystarium. Well, I suppose by 11 year, they might be significantly older.
And so you return. Have you gained a better understanding of the crisis now faced by the First?
Better is not the word I would use. Some lands may have been spared the flood, but the survivors live only to suffer. There seems no end to the horrors inflicted by the Sin Eaters.
Indeed. Those abominations are a calamity in their own right. and I can well imagine how hopeless the task of eradicating them must seem to you. But after countless battles and untold sacrifice, we have identified a potential weakness. Sin Eaters are drawn to serve the strongest of their kind, a class of creature we call Lightwardens. And from what we have been able to ascertain, only a handful of these entities exist. Just as an ant colony will perish in the absence of its queen, we believe that the death of a Lightwarden will cause the lesser creatures within its sphere of influence to disperse.
Convenient, eh?
I have a feeling Yulmor might have something to say about any concerted action we take against these monsters. Vorthra's command over the Sin Eaters is integral to Yulmoran society. In seeming to guarantee his people's safety, it guarantees their obedience. He will not take kindly to us depriving him of such useful allies.
Agreed. Thus we will need to occupy or otherwise divert his forces whilst we proceed with the business of eliminating the Wardens. Until we have done so, all other considerations must be set aside if we are to forestall the 8th Umbral Calamity.
Are you sure that eliminating the Wardens will be enough? Can't help but notice that they don't highlight the text.
Your uncertainty is understandable given the circumstances. Perhaps a more detailed explanation is in order. To begin at the beginning, then.
Whoa! Peace again, huh?
In the ancient past, a single star was divided into 14 worlds.
Oh, how fitting!
This is the source, your home. These others are the 13 shards, in whose number we find the first. Though physically separate, they retain a connection to each other, and with the source especially. Now, let us assume that a given element in one of the shards attains abnormal ascendancy. Just as water will flow from the highest point to the lowest, the excess energy will begin trickling into the source. And such an influx of ether will of course exert a palpable influence. If the element in question were fire, then drought and wildfires might ensue. If it were ice, one might expect the weather to turn bitterly cold. As ether continues to pour in, such phenomena will become more and more extreme, until eventually, a single, untimely event triggers a disaster which cracks the barrier dividing the two worlds. What was once a trickle now becomes a deluge, sweeping the shard along to be rejoined with the source. At the same time, the element which held sway in the shard is unleashed in full, its energies amplifying the original disaster to truly catastrophic proportions.
Imagining something similar to a flood of light over there, I don't see how it could be worse.
An earthquake thus magnified might strike with enough force to shatter continents. A tidal wave might swell to a size capable of drowning entire nations. These devastating events are what we refer to as umbral calamities. 7 times has a calamity befallen the source. 7 times has a shard been absorbed.
So they're all gone then. That's unfortunate. That is what the Ascians want, apparently. We're seeing a lot of the basic elements there. So this one would be light then. Darkness, of course. So that leaves 6 of them.
At present, the light-drowned realm of the First stands perilously close to meeting the conditions for a rejoining. It is the Sin Eaters who are to blame for the light's continued dominance. In addition to attracting their lesser kin, the Lightwardens I mentioned earlier radiate ether, saturating every corner of their territory with light. Even here in the flood-spared region of Norvrant, their influence is strong enough to banish night from the sky. Thus, if we are to restore balance to the First and head off a potential calamity, it is imperative that we put each and every Lightwarden to the sword.
We've been doing our best to take the fight to the enemy ever since we first heard the Exarch's explanation.
Though we have yet to claim any meaningful victories if truth be told. Apart from being confoundingly elusive, the Lightwardens possess a troublesome quality which compelled us to delay our plans until such time as you arrived.
Oh, really?
Forgive the interruption, my lord, but Holminster Switch is requesting reinforcements. They say the Sin Eaters are attacking in force, and the village could soon be overrun.
Lovely.
Alert the guard. We should be prepared in case the fighting reaches the Crystarium. You have command of our forces in the field, Captain, but hold off on entering the town until I arrive. That goes for Alphino and Alize as well.
My lord.
Lena, eh?
Pray, lend us your strength. Such a fight will provide you with far greater insight than any explanation I could offer.
If we must. I've just noticed those new earrings I got. They're sword earrings. Holminster Switch is in the north of Lakeland, so we had best make haste with our preparations. In fact, meet me outside the Crystarium at the crossroad northwest of Excelsior Gate, and I shall lead you there myself. Alrighty. Starting to wonder if this isn't what will lead us to our first dungeon. I've taken the liberty of preparing things for it, as I am not quite ready. Information trickles down at a certain speed, as you can expect. Gonna need people to get ahead for us to get info. Otherwise, it's just gonna be fumbling around in the dark. Where was it? Is it within the city proper? Doesn't look like it, so Lakeland, probably. Here we are. Let us be on our way. And our ice pony, too. Maybe I should let them outside the city and let them drop either expected manure or whatever. At least that's the polite way I could think to say it. Lakeland seems fairly smaller than the other ones I have seen thus far. The other zones are much bigger, but divided in half, not unlike what they did with Stormblood. Interesting music in here. At least before we managed to get attacked by something. And the Crystal Exarch just stands there, surrounded by stuff, as well as a public quest. Wonderful. Hey, hun. All set. If we follow this road north, we will arrive at the northern staging point. The village itself lies not far beyond. Quickly now. If we must. So I'm guessing... Oh, it's actually pretty far. I need to stop at Fort Job then. Assuming we can enter. Those mounts are so slow, man. Thankfully, we'll get a mount speed upgrade pretty soon. At least I'm hoping. What are those now? That's a new model for those things. Fancy. Very spiky. That fort now. Let's make a brief stop. After that, we'll head over to where the quest giver is. Hi there. Coming through. Welcome, traveler. I am an authorized trader representing the crystalline mean in the acquisition of bicolor gemstones. If you find yourself in possession of any such gems, I can offer you a number of items provided by the facets in exchange. You now have access to this region's Gemstone Exchange, through which bicolor gemstones can be traded for a variety of rare and exclusive items. Successfully completing local fates will allow for the delivery of more valuable goods, increasing the number of items available for trade. Huh. Interesting. Bicolor gemstones. Okay, so fates in a certain area offer bicolor gems as rewards. They can be exchanged with gemstone traders for rare items, some of which can only be obtained via these vendors. Completing fates in these areas with the highest rating possible will increase your rank, which allows the local gemstone trader to offer a wider selection of items. To view your progress in each applicable area, select Shared Fates from Travel from the main menu. And we got some skin, probably stuff for crafting, I suppose. That's interesting nonetheless. Let's see, Shared Fates. Okay, nothing at the moment. What's this now? Mount speed. Interesting. I remember talking last stream about, how can I say... oh, somebody's dead in Lakeland. It's pretty close. I suppose I could go raise him. We're gonna see if I get there quicker or not. Although she is being rather lazy, seeing as... okay, she already got taken care of, so that should be okay. Let us continue then. So yeah, I was complaining about the fact that we didn't have, you know, collectibles on the maps and whatnot, like WoW did and whatever. But anywho, we actually have some of them with the Aether Currents that incentivize us to actually look around within the zones. Although at some point, well, you'll get, how can I say, people who will have found all of these and put them on a convenient map, so there's not much point to it. Neither do sightseeing points, although I suppose they count to some extent. I'm really mostly talking about, you know, small rewards that can be found to reward exploration and whatnot. We've also seen a few... whoa, that's a new beastie there. We've also seen some of the new mounts for the expansion. I've also got access to it myself, although it seems I haven't registered Shadowbringers just yet, so just doing it soon will probably allow me to get access to it. Come on, trusty little dudes. And here we are. Hey there, lady. Your assistance is appreciated. You're here. We are heading in together, yes? The Exarch asked that we wait, so we wait. So, let's see. Holminster Switch is past these gates, and through the woods. It is not exactly a near neighborhood to the Crystarium, but as we occupy the same region, we have built up something of a cooperative relationship. What can we expect inside, Captain? The town is beset by a swarm unlike any we have seen in recent years. We did our best to evacuate the villagers, but as many as half remain. Judging by the number of eaters present, we have good reason to believe that a Lightwarden leads the attack. How convenient! It seems we'll have our chance to slay a Warden sooner than we expected. Snort. One does not simply slay a Warden. Has no one told you what happens if you defeat one of those fiends? They hold more light inside them than all of their underlings put together. Can be struck down, aye, but its essence will dissipate like the weaker kind. Vile ether will billow outwards and envelop the nearest living being. A reckless young swordswoman, perhaps, and turn her to a brand new warden. Wonderful. Ah, well, you can leave that particular quandary to us. I must ask that the guards stand down and allow us to engage this leader of eaters alone. Concentrate on the survivors. We must save every life we can. But what if? Understood, my lord. As captain of the guard, however, I will not watch you brave such dangers without an escort from our ranks. I insist that I go with you. Very well. Very well. Then our warden slaying party shall include myself, the Leveilleurs, Captain Lena, and last but not least... Of course. We'll get him. A formidable group indeed. Into Holminster we go. Once we reach the Lightwarden, do not hold back. We strike to kill. Holminster Switch now accessible. The instance dungeon encountered in Shadowbringers' main scenario quest can be completed solo, alongside a supporting party of NPCs. To make use of this feature, simply speak with one of your NPC companions near the entrance to the instance, and select the option to form a party. When forming a party, you will need to follow the same role restrictions imposed when using the Duty Finder. Alternatively, you can find party members via the Duty Finder as usual, and complete the instance with fellow players instead. Which is what we're gonna do. Unfortunately, however, I'm gonna need to step out for a few minutes. I'm sorry, but I have no choice. So stay tuned, we'll be continuing this shortly. Okay, my apologies about that, but I had no choice in the matter. So, our new dungeon, Holminster Switch. Oh, already? Well, that was quick. Won't even have time to have a look at what the dungeon has in store for me. Okay. Oh, we'll get a repeat of Omega, it appears. Or kinda. This is gonna be strange. Okay, but at least I'm ready. So, let's see what you've got. As per usual, we'll be having a look at the cutscenes once we are done. It's rare to see such an event-based dungeon. Hi there! So, she's the one then. Bear fighting a friggin' lightsent. Let me guess, she's waiting for Protect, right? Sorry about that, lady. Okay, we're chain pulling. Fine. And apparently we are not stopping. But I've had to do this place quite a few times up until now. I've gotcha, no problem. Gotta admit, I do miss my aero tree. Whoa. Taking a heck of a lot of damage. An Eyedropter. Damn it. That bear hits like a truck. I wonder if there's a sorry emote. It's gotta be. No matter. She seems to have changed her mind. Fine. She goes down really quickly. Seems that they want me to concentrate on healing a little. Come on. Forgot about the regen. Why does she keep getting hit so hard? Doesn't she have cooldown for this? Usually I could probably just spam Holy and whatever. Starting to run out of MP though. Pretty sure that's the bears that are a problem here. So this one. Apparently nothing I haven't seen yet. Something about a line of orbs to keep watch for and whatnot. So Forgiven Dissonance. Let's see what we've got. Has a Tank Buster though. Path of Light is a group-wide AoE if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Okay, this I'm not sure what it is. Okay, these things, so basically don't stand there. Ew! Only one safe spot? That's mean. Tank is gonna take it to the face though. For whatever reason. Personally, I prefer to play with players. NPCs are fine and whatnot, but nothing quite like playing with other human beings. Know what I'm saying? Pillory. That the Tank Buster? Could be. That one, where? Over here. Well. When in doubt, you can always do this. Wait for the first thing to blow, and then move out of the way. That's the secret to fights like Titan or Shiva. It's nice to see bosses with holy attacks, though. We get them so rarely. Aside from Torden, that is. Okay. That ought to be annoying as Black Mage, though. So where was it? Yeah, I think it was over here. What's that now? No really good safe spot. At least they gave us plenty of time, so that's good. Dragoon was on point on this one. So long as you do mechanics, I figure there's no problem here. So let's see. Rogue and Ninja, not interested. Rogue and Ninja, not interested. Someone help! Oh, it's some of those. Reusing thing. Switch Gremlin, huh? Let's use the Benison. That can't count as healing, now can it? Yeah, that's good. Stop right there. Perhaps they changed the way Dark Knights worked. I keep seeing this weird bar on its health. That's odd. Also seeing something not so nice. Come on. They're making me work for it, though. Yeah, I know. Come on. Tank's not gonna like me on this one. But then again, I did what I was supposed to do. Which is wait for him to get back aggro and basically rush right next to him. Or her in this particular case. Unless I'm mistaken, which I could be. Seems I don't heal nearly as much as I used to. That is mighty strange. Did they buff Cure 3 perhaps? Strange. Or perhaps that's to compensate the use of Hathalicus Solus. Now that I notice, those things look like bisons. Okay, this one. Nothing special here as far as I remember. Tesleen the Forgiven. How unfortunate. The Tickler. I saw that bar for my shield, though. Something new. Scold's Birdle. Okay, basically a giant AoE. Severed Flagellation. Okay, that's the thing I had heard about, I think. Basically jumps around and claws us. Again, I didn't have much time to study that fight, so it's... I'm a little at a disadvantage at the moment. Okay, those puddles are no good. Oh, I'm seeing stuff on me. That doesn't seem good. Okay, this must be the order at which we get hit. I gotcha. Still early into the expansion, so I suppose I'll get a little leeway at least. Thing seems to be holding up well against these. Must have been the bears. Has to be. MP's going down fast though. Those things are nasty. Alright, done. So what are these? Black Mage? Greed. Gladiator? Greed. What's next? Oh, those don't look nice. Reminds me of something, actually. Strange though, the second they kill something, they turn into cocoons and whatnot. Oops, that regen was probably a really bad idea. I'm an idiot, I panicked. See, I've got this. Kinda. I'll need a better heal though. I'll have to do some tests with Cure 3. Yes, I know, a lot of you find it funny the way I pronounce that. Didn't get much time to react. Good thing the tank was quick. Now that I think about it, that tune kinda reminds me of Fallen Legion Rise to Glory, which I've also played on the YouTube channel. Alrighty. Don't worry guys, I've got this under control. Plenary Indulgence doesn't seem to be doing much. I'll have to look into this, see if they changed it perhaps. At least SE still seems to deal some measure of healing. And I wasted a lily. That's a shame. I do prefer the new color though for these. They're a lot easier to see. Looks a lot more crystal-y too. Still, that city was big, wasn't it? Read. read again. Okay, last one. This one is gonna be a doozy, apparently. He's similar to Omega and has a move that will make him hit on either side. Alrighty, let's do this. Roar! Now, let's see. Scavenger's daughter. Okay, that's an AoE. Head Crusher. That must have been the Tank Buster, which got absorbed by something. Pendulum. Oh. I don't like the look of this. Chaining down the thing, which means that we need to take this down pretty quickly. Okay, he's out. They do give you quite a bit of time, so this isn't too dangerous. What is that? Thundercloud. Is that new? Whoops. Was a really stupid place. Move to the other side quickly. Ooh! Was quick. Better stay to the center then. Head Crusher. So that must be the Tank Buster. Spread. Get back together. Didn't really see anything, but okay. Pendulum. It's that one. Ouch. Fierce Beating. He's gonna go that away and move around. I think I sort of understand. It's kind of like the mechanic we saw in the Gimlet Dark. Okay, doesn't seem like I've embarrassed myself too much. Alrighty. What now? With beam there. Let it break. Right. Okay, I was on the right side. Good. Then he's gonna do the other one, because he's a bastard. And the chain on this dude. Should be easy enough to take down. Okay, he's out. I dare say that went well. It looks like something right out of Cthulhu, though. Bye-bye. Commendation. The Paladin, the Dragoon did impress me. Need on rogue stuff, need on conjurer stuff. Tank is probably gonna be a little disappointed. At least I got one commendation, that's better than nothing. Tell me we have a cutscene to reward us at least. Looks like it. Okay, big moment.
It's releasing its ether! Fall back! We cannot let it touch us! Quickly, my lord, we must withdraw!
That will not be necessary, Captain. Though I appreciate your concern. The eternal light of these creatures has confounded us for nigh on 100 years. For each we have put down, another has risen up in its place, born of the self-same ether relinquished by its predecessor. But now we have a way to contain that corruption.
I suppose that would be me.
The blessing of light, and the hero who wields it now stands before you.
Well, I'm just gonna absorb that and grow immensely powerful, right? Because that's how it works. And then things are gonna get bad. So I get turned into a giant tentacly monster, right? Or not? Oh my god.
Behold! The monster's power is broken, and the world, twisted by its touch, returns to its rightful form.
It's actually pretty darn impressive. Gotta hand it to him. I didn't expect this to be story-based, really. When you speak about miraculous figures in games and whatnot, that must be what people usually feels like when watching it. Not me specifically, I'm thinking in the place of the NPC. A lot of people are like, what the heck is that?
Scar. It can't be.
What's happening?
It's so beautiful.
The sunless sea. The warrior of darkness has come.
Feels strange, doesn't it? Well, no matter.
Is that what I think it is?
The night sky. As it should be.
Who are you people? You killed a warden, then bathed in its ether as if it were a spring shower, and now the sky? The legends are true. My lord?
How many years have I waited for this moment? For the one possessed of her blessing. For you. You have vanquished the Lightwarden of Lakeland, and for the first time in a century, darkness has returned to the mantle of night. Without the ever-present light to sustain them, the Sin Eaters will have no choice but to retreat. Yet our victory is far from complete. Though darkness has fallen here, the other Wardens yet bask beneath burning skies, feasting upon what little life remains. Even should it cost me all I have, I would see each and every one of them slain, that this world might be spared from oblivion. Not only for the first, but for the source as well. Save one, and we save the other. But be that as it may, I concede it was wrong of me to summon you to this fight against your will. I swear, on my life, I will one day atone for that deed, but for the present, I beg you stay and see this fight to its conclusion. Cast down the Wardens and restore darkness to the First.
I will become the warrior you need.
On behalf of the First, I offer you my deepest thanks.
I understand there is much at stake here, Exarch, but why do you risk yourself so readily? It must have been a dangerous drain on your ether to summon even one person across the rift.
I do it for my people, of course. To give the Crystarium the tomorrow it deserves.
That is true now, yes, but the city had yet to be built when you first called forth the Crystal Tower. I'm simply curious to know what prompted you to commit yourself so completely to this particular course.
There are things which we can ill afford to lose. And I sensed from the first that I had a part to play in preserving them. Forgive me. I fear the events of the day may have taken their toll. Despite appearances, I am an old man. One burdened with many difficult memories, some too painful to recall.
Well then, I'm sorry for pressing you. It's a family failing, I'm afraid.
One which has served us well more often than not. Needless to say, we will continue to fight at your side until the last Senator is defeated.
Come then, my warriors of darkness. Let us gather the surviving villages and make our way back to the Crystarium.
Well then, our path is set. You'll notice that based on the party composition that we had right now, we can surmise that possibly the Crystal Exarch was the healer, whereas Alphino and Alize were the DPS. Lena would probably have served as a tank, more likely than not. How quickly you have justified my faith in you. So many lives saved, and the sky itself heralds your success. A victory in a larger struggle, perhaps, but a momentous one nonetheless. And now we've got fair skies as opposed to unending light. Interesting, huh? Trust parties unlocked. You can enlist NPC companions to revisit completed instances by opening the Trust interface, located under Duty in the main menu. Let's have a look. This, I suppose? And you can choose them, I suppose, for the duty and whatever you need, basically. So as I expected, Alphino... Wait. What did I see exactly? All-rounder, huh? Oh! Alphino is a scholar! That's a surprise. And as an all-rounder, the Exarch is actually the tank. Wowee. It's over, yes? I might need a moment. You and me both. Without that constant glare, Lakeland seems an entirely different place. It's as if the sky itself had disappeared into the heavens. If I didn't have Wounded to tend to, I'd never stop staring. Warrior of Darkness. The Exarch is looking ahead to the immediate future. Even the daylight must seem strange to them now. Now, as for how we proceed from there. The villagers we evacuated earlier have arrived safely in the Crystarium. They seem to be accepting their situation for the moment. Most folk are far too distracted by the sky to worry about wounds or lost homes. They whisper and wonder if the Warrior of Darkness has come. It is to be expected. Hard, I must ask a favor of you. Would you be so kind as to conceal your involvement in this endeavor for the time being? Of course, wouldn't want people worshipping me or anything. And who wouldn't take advantage of that? Seeing the light recede from Lakeland is a momentous occasion, and many will be swept up in the maelstrom of excitement and confusion. Should you come forth as the legendary Warrior of Darkness, I fear that, no matter how good your intentions, such an appearance will throw the city into disarray. I find myself in agreement with the Exarch, although my concerns are more focused on Ulmor. It may be best if you maintain a low profile until we see how Vatri responds to all of this. Alright. My thanks, though we cannot freely celebrate your success, pray allow your heart to be buoyed by the joy of our citizens, a joy you surely brought into being. Ah, and I must ask the same discretion of you, Captain. 'Tis my intention to share with our people the tale of a great warrior who stood in defense of the Sin-Eater, in defiance of the Sin-Eaters. This unnamed champion defeated the Lightwarden, and has since departed for parts unknown. Yes? As you wish, my lord. Your penchant for mystery is nothing new, and I will encourage folk not to question this either. Although I expect to be told the whole truth of it one day, about all of you. Well, at least I didn't tell her when I showed up. With that settled, I shall return to the Crystarium and make an address to the people. These explanations and adjustments will consume much of my time, so pray take the opportunity to rest and recover from your exploits. And to think, you will not even need to shutter the windows to enjoy a dark and peaceful night's sleep. I must stay behind and coordinate the evacuation of the remaining survivors. And I hesitate to ask after all you've done here today, but could I ask you to pass on a message on your way to the pendants? Please let Bragi know that we're bringing in a number of injured, and that any restoratives in the market needs to be reserved for the infirmary. Gotcha. We should start making our way back to the Crystarium, slowly, mind you. It wouldn't do to arrive too soon after the Exarch. I'm staying behind as well. There's something I need to check on in Holminster. We already went through the village top to bottom, Alize. We should all take the chance to rest, you included. I knew one of those heaters, and I can't rest. Not now. Headstrong lady. So please, I wish to be left alone for a while, and that means you as well, Hard. I shall be cross if you try to follow me. I promise to find you later, when I feel myself again. Just you and me then, shall we? Just like old times, Alphino. Just like old times. Gotta admit, though, this has nothing to do with this, and I'll probably re-mention it once I get there, but for those of us who actually did the part following the main quest that leads into Ishgard, right after the big event, you end up kind of going to Orshafan for refuge in Ishgard, and he greets us with, you know, warm beverages, warm clothing and whatnot. It was just me and Alphino, and I gotta say, that struck a chord with me, really. It's to the pendants I want to go. Well, it does seem rather closer. Let's see. That way seems to make more sense, doesn't it? Yeah, speak with Alphino first. Well, the Crystarium seems relatively ordered, wouldn't you say? The Exarch's speech must have been reassuring to hear. On the contrary, there's something jubilant in the air. I have a feeling this night won't be quite as peaceful as our hooded friend predicted. I think I shall take a brief stroll around town before retiring to my chambers. Once you've discharged your duty to Bragi, I suggest you do the same. Sleep well, Hard. I hope untroubled dreams find you in Alizé boat. And off we go, back to the pendants. And once we are done with the mandatory cutscene, we can have a look at those we missed. Here's Bragi. Hi, what can I do for you? Looking to buy a lantern like every other stumbling soul in the city? I see. Well, Captain Lena can rest assured that any potions I spot coming in will be set aside for the wounded. Hang on a moment. If you're carrying messages for the guard, does that mean you were there, then? The battle at Holminster? Stalwart lass like you might want to pay a visit to the Wandering Stairs. Make yourself known. I'm sure Glynard can introduce you to some interesting opportunities. Oh, I am going then. That's a surprise. Unusual. The protagonist of this game doesn't seem like much of a glory hound, if you ask me. Although that depends on how you answer, really. Ciela, more beer for table 2, and a couple of pint of mead for table 3 while you're at it. Coming right up. Sorry, we're rushed off our feet today, miss. Can I get you anything? Drinks are on the house. Oh, that Bragi has a twisted sense of humor. Probably sent me for a drink. Gahaha, to think he'd send you to me at a time like this. The first real night in near 100 years as folk all riled up and then some. What's more, there was that heater business at Holminster Switch. They say a Lightwarden was destroyed without a damn trace, and it was the Warrior of Darkness who did the deed. I really must apologize to Glynard. He's been almost as rowdy as our customers, and that's no small feat. A lot of our regulars are bounty hunters. They mostly go after eaters, and the rumor of the warrior's appearance was the spark to their kindling. Face looks familiar. Gonna try not to pay too much attention. You know how the weak eaters are drawn to the strong ones, right? Aye, they swarm like angry bees around the Queen. You need to look no further than Holminster for proof of that. But attacks on that scale don't happen every day, praise the blessed Shadow. No, the more common threats are the strays. No one knows why, but every now and again an eater will leave the pack and prowl alone. Those are the ones you run into on the road if your luck is foul. They're a danger to everyone, so the settlement council put bounties on their heads. And our bar here is a convenient place for hunters to gather and share information. Seems a few of them were inspired by the Warden slaying even more than most. These are the types who have their sights set on the absolute worst of the strays, a class of eaters they've been dubbed the Cardinal Virtues. The Virtues showed up out of nowhere about 3 summers ago, and when historians heard the descriptions given by survivors, well, apparently they share an appearance with the villains who caused the flood. Really now? And if that doesn't send a chill down your spine, they've also reported to be as tough as Lightwardens, not the kind of prey you can take down single-handed. Our virtue hunters had all but given up, but knowing the Warrior of Darkness is out there has lit a fire in their bellies. Just look at them. That Yumi over there with the oversized sword is grandson. He's in it for revenge, wants to recruit a comrade in arms as tenacious as he is. The Mistel lad is Lurik. Don't be fooled by those dewy cheeks. He's as hard a hunter as they come. He just lost a partner, and seems to be on the lookout for a new one. That's Serig. Word is he seeks an expert in magecraft to help fight the virtue he's after. Last, we got Giot, dwarf and drunkard both. Wanted to join forces with a healer, and only a healer. Something about needing a mender's wisdom. Our first look at a dwarf. Nice. I've seen my share of competent veterans, and you have the look about you. Maybe you should introduce yourself to one of our hunters. Who knows? Together you might even collect a bounty on a Cardinal Virtue. Sure hope so. Oh, give me a sec here. That should be a tiny bit better. My face was getting a little dark. Now there's a grand idea. Imagine the prestige my bar would earn if we boasted the patronage of a successful virtue hunter. You have gained access to role quests. A separate quest line and story is now available for tank, physical DPS, magical DPS, and healer roles. Oh my, how interesting. In order to reach the final stages of the Shadowbringers main scenario, you must complete at least one role quest line. Speak with a virtue hunter at the Wandering Stairs to accept a quest offer. Very well. Now then, gotta speak with the manager. I'll keep an eye on these, they'll probably show up sooner or later. Seeing one, but they're not quite identified properly. At least I have the dwarf over here. We'll have a look at those maybe next stream, I figure. Don't know how far we can take these quest lines, but we'll see. I'd personally like to do every single one of them, but I'm missing a tank at the moment. Welcome back, miss! Also missing a... No, I have a physical DPS. I wonder if anyone can sleep with the city in such an uproar, but will you be retiring to your quarters? I sure would. Very good. In light of the present situation, I have had the illumination prepared for all our rooms. No need to rush to the markets for lanterns or candles. Have a pleasant rest, miss. As you will. Time for a little tete-a-tete with our ghost, eh? At least that's what I think. I've been known to be wrong, though. That have been a little annoying, especially when you're used to it.
So it's your lot's turn to be the Warriors of Darkness, is it? It's funny how things work out.
Well, jealous, are we? Been watching, have you?
Well, I did warn you. I followed you to Yulmore and then on to Ahm Araeng. And I was there when you slew the Lightwarden.
Yeah, I saw.
Those white-haired twins who were with you. I remember them from our battle in the Source. Are they your friends then? Through thick and thin?
Something like that.
Aye. Then I suggest you keep them close. It's when you charge ahead trying to save someone else that you end up losing those you love. Not that you need telling, I'll bet you've lost plenty. But I wonder, what will it cost you this time?
Absolutely nothing.
I don't remember when it was that I learned regret wasn't worth the bother. You get numb to it all over the years. The lost comrades, the broken promises, the abandoned principles. Just more nagging burdens to ignore.
I gotta admit though, this is progressing much faster than I expected. Figured it would be the entire expansion with this light. I'm a little disappointed to a degree. What now?
So this is what the light was hiding. She's here. I must go to her.
If it's who I think it is, I'm gonna be angry. We're gonna keep going a bit, seeing as I made you wait for a little bit. So, let's see what we got. Meanwhile, inside an Imperial Magitech facility in the Source.
Intruders! Fan out and find them!
Oh, I know that person. Friggin' Estinian.
Out of my way!
Stay your weapon. We are not your enemy. When the alarm sounded, I wondered what we had done to betray our presence. But I see now we are not the only intruders. Sir Estinian, I presume. The dragoon who plucked the Warrior of Light from the jaws of death? Your armor is most distinct.
Quite so.
Much as yours once was. But even without it, I see a former legator still has eyes and ears in unexpected places. Van Baelsar, in the flesh. Though I understand you prefer Shadow Hunter.
Word gets around, huh?
You are in contact with the Scions, I take it.
Through no choice of my own. They tracked me down and conscripted me to their cause.
Yep, need a replacement.
I swear the receptionist was trained as a spy. Not that anyone can escape that Baldessian woman once she has caught the scent of your ether.
If they have resorted to using freelancers, I must assume their attempts to wake the afflicted have failed. And what of their champion?
Away on other business. Thus, it has fallen to me to root out any trace of the Empire's new weapon.
If it is Black Rose you seek, you are too late. My people have already completed your mission here. Yet this is but one factory among many. When they caught wind of our efforts, they built additional facilities to ensure production continues unabated. There will be no one left in the lands they conquer. No citizens to conscript. No skills to exploit. Nothing the Empire needs. And they will call it victory.
What exactly does this Black Rose do?
Oh, we've seen it.
The gas is described as a poison, but its actual effect is more arcane in nature. It was created to disrupt the ether in living beings, to bring the flow of their life energies to a standstill. Inhaling even the tiniest amount will cause all bodily functions to cease, much as a potent venom will stop a man's heart. Released over a city, Black Rose could conceivably kill every inhabitant, and all without damaging a single structure.
Search every corner! Rouse the barracks if you have to! I want this facility secured!
I have more questions, but now is not the time.
Sir Estinian, I have an offer for you, but I will make it only once. Since it would seem we seek the same answers, you are welcome to join us.
Ha! From what I hear, you need all the help you can get. In case you don't know, Varys himself confessed that your empire was a creation of the Ascians.
I am aware of what his Radiance said at the parley. Thus I would return to the capital, that I might behold the truth of this corruption with my own eyes. My path leads to Garlemald.
Interesting. So that's how they're gonna work with this while we're on business. Between two worlds. Oh, somebody's already level 80. Well, they didn't lose time now, did they? Ah. It appears that I'm too low level to continue. Well then, it appears that we'll have no choice to do that role quest after all. So, the Unending Journey. Let's have a look. Starting to have a lot of them. Gonna need to get myself a thumbnail after all. I find my swagger strange now. Maybe it's always been that way. I think it's the dress that does that. Lightwardens, Philia. That's a nice one. I feel like they should have done that a long time ago. Well then. I don't seem particularly happy. Oh well, no matter. So, now that we have no choice, what do we do? I suppose we can have a peek at what Giots want. Can probably mess around with other classes, see what they do. Or perhaps I can get a stream out of this. We'll see. No. A job well done. What is that now? There's something up there. Is that for... Unless... Getaway? Okay. So there's a distraught damsel and this thing. Okay, that's just for an ether current. Let's forget about it. For now. With plenty of time to do this on my own. Also to get used to all of the classes that I had saved. It's been a while. Oh, this guy is available for Triple Triad. Cool. Been a while since I last played. Now then, traditions and travails. A hearty-looking dwarf stands before you, draining a flagon of ale remarkably swiftly given the helmet. So yes, in case you didn't know, well, it turns out that dwarves in this are actually Lalafels. Gulp, gulp, choked sputter. Don't you know better than sneak up on a dwarf mid-flagon? Oh, he's got a hammer. We don't usually get those. Not even a proper greeting, neither. Look here. Lollyho, the name's Giot. I feel like I've heard that name before. Lollyho. See? Now that's a greeting. Lollyhos aside, just who are you anyway? I dare say I'd remember someone like yourself if we'd ever met. You're from the same strange land as the Crystal Exarch, you say? Well, well, well. He's an odd sort, the Exarch is. He knows things, right? And he's got some sort of mystical power. Don't suppose you're the same, are you? Because I could use someone with powers the likes of which this world has never known. I'm hunting Sin Eaters, you see? Well, one in particular. I've gotcha. Would make a fantastic tag team. I mean, a dwarf and a giant. Well, technically, how did they call us in this? Galgen, I think. A healer, and not half bad at the job, eh? I like your confidence. And I wish I could take your word for it, since you sound like just what I'm looking for, but I have to ask you to prove it. How do I do that? There's no need for that. Listen here. That Sin Eater I hunt ain't your average abomination. You can blame me for wanting to make sure that I'm not leading you to your grave. That would be bad for the both of us. So, you get yourself on over to the forest of the Lost Shepherd, and we'll see what you've got. And off we go. So where would that be? Forest of the Lost Shepherd. It would be right outside the Crystarium. Wonderful. Ah, I just missed my eater right there. Oh, it was there. My bad. Now then. Just over there. Nothing too difficult. Yeah, I preferred it when it was bright, honestly. But then again, you know, giant tentacled monsters, people turning into lightsent and whatnot. Or Sin Eaters. Still feel like lightsent would have made more sense. But then I suppose it's not quite as poignant, you might say. Why am I not on my mount? A behemoth. Nice. You get this as the first veteran reward, if I'm not mistaken. Or close enough to that, anywho. They haven't released any new one for a while, so I'm beyond the limit, unfortunately. Wonder if they added any for the expansion, I didn't check. Also need to unlock my new mount if I get a chance. Would be nice to know what's the deal with that weird horse lizard thing. Whatever it is. Somebody over there with a Callisto Fairy. Giot. Oh, hard! Glad you found the place, alright? Now, for the prey. That'll do. Now, I just take a deep breath and... Hey, your mother was a hobgoblin, and you ain't much to look at neither. Come here and face me, you craven shite. Come on. Ha. Brown. Though Giat lies prone, the creature appears indisposed to seize its rampage. It seems that it will have to be dealt with. Alright. Wonder if they're all like that or if it's just Giat. So where is it? That away. Child's play. Oh, Midori ran out of time, did she? Or he. I never did mention the gender. Nor did I check, really. I wanted to use SCs, but too dangerous in such a cramped space. That was a good idea too, because of those hop trap around. Alright, let's heal him up. Role quests are actually a really interesting thing. I'm looking forward to see what they have to offer. Ha! See, that wasn't so bad. I reckon that I broke 3 or so ribs, and at least 1 femur there. My bones feel just fine now. Better than before, actually. And that beast gave you no trouble. Seems that you're just what I'm looking for after all. We can talk about the rest back at the Crystarium over a drink or 3. The folk at the Wandering Stairs know how to keep them coming. Meet me there. And back to the Crystarium. And I think that's gonna be it for the time being. I did tell you that I was gonna do a little more. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. If you like what you're seeing, maybe follow the stream, maybe leave a comment if you're on YouTube. And that was the Great Pumpkin. You all have a pleasant time now. Bye bye!